Okay. All right. So, welcome, Mikal. Mikal is the CEO of AI Data Defense. We have worked with Mikal before in the past. In fact, Mikal's company, last company, Scalera, was the second company on Propellex ever. So, we have a long association. Scalera was acquired by SAP. And here we have Mikal again with his next one, even more exciting. So, welcome everyone. Mikal, why don't you see if you can share your slides? In the meanwhile, I want everyone to know that Mikal is calling in from Thailand, where he has been invited by the United Nations to present on AI data defense, among other things. Um, and while Mikal is setting up, I am going to go ahead and share some vital information. I would like to remind everyone of the following. PropelX is a funding platform, not a broker dealer. A syndicate, if formed, will be managed by Plank Fund Management Corporation, which is a Nevada registered venture capital firm. Private investments are highly illiquid and risky and not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should speak with your financial advisor, accountant, and or attorney when evaluating private offerings. Neither PropelX nor Plank Fund Management nor any of its affiliates makes any recommendations or provides advice about investments. The information you will hear today may make forward-looking statements about investments which have not been reviewed by PropelX or Plank Fund Management Corporation. You should not rely on these statements, but should carefully evaluate the offering materials in assessing any private investment opportunity, including the complete set of risk factors that you will have. This is it. Um, with that, Mikhail, I'd like to hand it over to you if you're ready. And if you're not ready, then we have for our new attendees, I can walk over our Propellex platform. There we go. Mikhail has it ready, so I will let him run with it. Everyone, if you have questions, you may share them at the bottom of your screen. There's a Q&A box, um, and we'll moderate them. But Mikhail, for now, please go for it. We will do the Q&A at the end of your presentation. You have about 20 minutes to present.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. So, hi everyone. So, what I'm going to tell you is a little bit about how we see how to protect data when it comes to generative AI. Um, the idea actually comes from when I was at SAP. I was developing a product called SAP Data Custodian together with one of my co-founders here. And what we did was basically at that point to deliver something called, we delivered a product that dealt with data privacy and protection. And we started about a year ahead of GDPR. And obviously, the goal was to have a product out the door when GDPR came into effect. And we started with a collaboration project together with Google at that point. And the whole idea was to make sure that we could protect data if you're using public cloud. And we started with Google, expanded to AWS, Azure, and Ali Cloud as well. And that was back in 2017 when we started that project. The product went live in May 2018, so late May when GDPR did come into effect. I think we were 3 days late or something like that. I left SAP about, what is it now, almost 3 years ago. And we started this about 2 years ago and started thinking about building something better than what we did at SAP and being more kind of generalized so that we could do it for Oracle, Salesforce, and others, not just SAP, but also add some other dimensions to this. And then we had the big kind of growth that came with generative AI. ChatGPT was released and so forth. And then we realized that what we built actually was perfect for generative AI simply because of how generative AI works. You're looking at basically protecting data from coming into the generative AI platform. So what we did was to create something that was sitting in line and taking a look at the data in the data stream itself and take a look at what we can do there. So that's basically where this started. And we started building about a year ago, and now we have the MVP. We have some customers, and we have other customers knocking on the door, including some companies that I met here yesterday at UN. So, which is kind of exciting. So anyway, so I usually start by asking basically if anyone has ever copied an email, pasted that into ChatGPT or some other platform and sent that off. And yet I have only heard one person say that, no, I have never done that, but they have never used, that person had never used any generative AI at all. So everyone that I know that has used it, and we're talking about even attorneys now, have pasted an email, sent that off to generative AI. So the obvious question that comes after that is basically, do you understand what that means for the company you work for? And in most cases, that means basically that it's a violation against compliance. Not many people, individuals, actually think about that. Obviously, when you talk about it and tell them, it's like, oh, yeah, I never thought about that. So it is pretty obvious that there is a violation against compliance when it comes to data privacy, at least. So, and there could be other things as well. But that's not the only type of data that needs to be protected. You're also talking about confidential data and so forth that needs to be protected. And those kind of leaks are happening every single day. And in many cases, it may not be seen as very harmful, but it's certainly not harmless because of that. It basically means that you are putting the data at risk for the company and so forth. So, so it needs to be managed somehow. And I'm of the opinion that if you're using generative AI, you shouldn't have to think too much about what you actually do. It needs to be an enabler at that point, and you shouldn't be kind of stopped, such as if you take legacy security products, you're either going to see them reporting after the fact that something happened, or it will stop you from doing something. So, and if it's stopping you in that case, it will take longer to get somewhere. So, so that's kind of what we are addressing, if you will. And this kind of practice, if you copy and paste and share data, and you use generative AI, it basically called shadow AI. And there's definitely a widespread use of this. A lot of people are doing it. There's a lot of companies, especially in Europe, that basically tells their employees to not use generative AI, or they have developed their own LLM that they use internally, taken a open source product, trained that for their own specific purpose, and then they release that to the employees, which usually turns out to be something that is not that good. So employees start using LLMs anyway on the side, and obviously that's something that could be very dangerous for the companies, and could lead to some hefty fines, if you will. So now what we think is that the solution here must be taking a look at the conversation itself, and that basically is something that we call conversation security. So it's not the traditional perimeter security, if you will, and taking a look at this from a firewall perspective. It's more about reading the conversations and understanding what's in it, and then take action. That could be things like redaction tokenization. We also think about how to deal with security in terms of sovereignty, which leads to bring your own key and encryption around the data that you have. So basically take a look at the access and controls of the data instead of for instance, as it's a big topic here right now at UN. It's about sovereignty, and what I'm proposing here is more logical sovereignty than physical, because the physical sovereignty basically means that you build your own data centers, you have all the data in your local kind of or regional kind of data center and so forth, and that's going to be extremely expensive. You're going to probably have problems with feeding it with energy and so forth. You have water that needs to be supplied and everything else. So logical sovereignty is a better way, because you can actually use blocks and combine different countries, if you will, and use more of sharing at that point. And that means that when you're taking a look at your data, you need to protect the data. And you can do that if you encrypt data, if you take care of the data itself. Basically, not care so much about where data is processed. Take a look at where it is and who's got access and who holds the keys and so forth. So different kind of concept. So this solution is built out of three different layers, if you will. One is the user layer, where you have your user prompts, you have user interfaces, you have systems that connects into an LLM. Could be public, could be private, could be other types of enterprise software as well. So we're heading in that direction, even though we're not there yet. And in the middle, you have something that we call secure data layer, and that's where basically we do all the security functions. And as part of this, we're not only taking a look at things in terms of data going to the LLM, and we protect the data from ending up in the LLM. We're also looking at the response coming back from the LLM. And that means that now we can identify ethics, bias, factuality, and other things in the response from the LLMs, and we can do something about that. So that will give you more evidence in terms of hallucinations and other things that might come back from the LLM. And what we can do at that point is to provide information so that you can create better prompts. In some cases, we can actually improve the responses by asking back to the LLM, saying that you need to provide sources for the response as well. And so it is kind of different than what you see from other products in the market that claims to have this type of security. And if you take a look at that type of security layer, that is what I call, from a customer perspective, it belongs in the cost center, because it doesn't really have any profit. It doesn't impact your bottom line in terms of positive revenue generation, if you will. So there's another thing that we are looking into here, which is not just about shadow AI, but also something called tool sprawl. And we heard this before when it comes to when cloud came about, and you had the responsibility model changed and everything else, which is now changing again because of generative AI. But that kind of model basically means that with all these AI tools, and they're very specific in terms of their functions, and they're pretty fast to develop. So for an enterprise, that means that if they're going to allow all marketing tools, all sales tools, and everything else that has a positive impact on the bottom line, it basically means that they're going to have to secure, I don't know, 150, 200 different AI applications. So the attack surface is growing at that point, and it's going to be way more difficult and way more costly to protect yourself. And there's also the fact that you need to deal with a lot of vendors instead of just one vendor. So what we are developing is a platform in this case. So it's obviously secure by default because the secure data plane is there, if you will, but it's also that we can develop these kind of AI applications, which we can also have the enterprises themselves can use this and develop their applications on top of our platform. So all the pre-wiring, the authorizations, the security, all of that is there by default. And that means that now they can move faster. So there's a couple of different things here that is happening with this because we're automating a lot of the wiring, the foundation, if you will. So there's a couple of things that happens with that. One is that the sales cycles is shortened for us when we deliver this. The normal sales cycle for an enterprise selling security could be somewhere between 6 to 12 months. And in this case, we are shortening that down to maybe 6 or 9 weeks to 12 weeks. So that is because we can sell into smaller teams. We can go directly to the sales organization, the marketing organization. It might be the IT organization with their DevOps teams and so forth. So selling into those teams is easier than selling into the CISO or chief compliance officer with the security. So getting the foot in the door is what we're doing here, and it's fast for us to develop these kind of smaller applications. So so that's one thing that we are delivering as well, if you will, to shorten the sales cycles. But from a company perspective or a customer perspective, when they're using this, the development of these applications is also much faster. So and it means that we can move faster. So that's why we started delivering this to begin with. So automating that, the wiring and authorization and everything else, it means that we much faster can get to just focus on the actual function. So think of this more like microservices, but it's more like AI applications instead. So it's every single application is separated from the core platform, but they are connected. So that means that you much faster can see the results in terms of what you are developing. You can start focusing more on the actual function and the value coming out of that. So what we have right now, and I can do a little bit of demo on this as well instead of talking about this, but the MVP is out, and we are improving that. The trust index is something that gains a lot of traction at the moment, and I can show you that in a bit here. And I just said in the beginning here that we're talking to some customers, and we just started talking to a potential customer here 2 days ago in Bangkok. It's a Spanish attorney firm with 1,500 employees, and the trust score is something that they're very interested in, and they're kind of like following us right now, so it's going to take some time to get embedded in their organization. But that is because we're talking to another company in the United States called Jackson Lewis, and I'm talking to the head of AI. They have 1,200 people in the organization, and we're pretty far along in those discussions right now, and I'm pretty sure that we're going to get a pilot going when I get back to the United States here in a couple of weeks. And then we have another company called Bull. It's also an attorney firm that I'm meeting in Europe next week. They have it's way smaller, so they have about 100 people in the organization. But all of them are interested in 4 different things from this platform, and that is confidential info, taking a look at how they can protect that. That includes the connections to the LLMs. It also includes the RAG system, similarity search, and other things so that we can protect confidential information from ending up in an LLM. The compliance piece here, that is more about the data privacy and data protection. So that would be GDPR, PCI, and also a compliance assistant that we have, and we're pretty close to releasing that one. We start with EU AI Act, and we'll add other compliance as well, and that is basically based on the official documentation. So we certify that to be the official documentation. The trust index, like I mentioned before, that is taking a look at what's coming back from the LLM and understanding if there's some issues with bias, ethics, factuals, and so forth. So that is something that they see as extremely important for them because they're attorneys. So facts are important. And the fourth one is actually the routing to private LLMs. So, and for us, what I mentioned here is from an enterprise perspective, I would say that 1,200 people, 1,500 people, 100 people, it's fairly small. And the private LLM, that's going to add on the revenue side for us quite a bit. So I like that we are having those discussions right now. So how we go to market. So we are now.
Not going to do the. Sorry, Mikhail. Are we not going to do the demo?
Yeah, I can jump straight into the demo here.
Let's do the demo.
So let me see where we are here.
So while you get that up, why I got interested was when Mikhail told me that he's building this. And this was several months ago. This add-on for Chrome where it could clean up my emails that I was in fact copying onto ChatGPT, or at least encrypt them. I said that sounds like a use case that all of us have encountered. But I will let Mikhail go ahead and give the demo now. Let's take a look at it.
Yeah, so I'm going to start here, which is basically a chat interface. You probably all have seen these type of interfaces when it comes to ChatGPT and so forth. And what you can do here is basically take a look at things like, let's see, there we go. Couple of things. We have a lot of different LLMs enabled here. We have 98 different models available right now, and we can add more fairly quickly. We are configuring basically what type of LLMs we provide, which could be pretty much anything. So could be open source, could be private, could be public, and so forth. So that's starting point, if you will. And now if I would be take a look at, and I'm going to just copy this prompt here instead of writing it down. And then I'm going to fire off a new prompt here. This is just showing you a little bit about the secure data layer and what that does. But we can also take a look at the trust index when this comes back. Usually
so just so I can interject. So this is the intermediary between, so all of our ChatGPT and Gemini and so on would go through this. So we'd be added to your Chrome, for example, or AI Data Defense would be added to as a Chrome extension, and everything would go through this. Is that the intention, Mikhail?
Yes. So we do have a Chrome browser extension right now, but we need to qualify that to make sure that works, if you will.
So right now, this is a separate software.
Yeah, right now it's our user interface, and we're going to do browser extensions for pretty much every browser out there. We're also thinking about having another option, which basically installing something on your laptops, and that would work kind of like a what is that, the antivirus software at that point. And what it does is basically that they are taking a look at our secure data layer as a it would be like a proxy at that point. So it sends it through there. We are handling the conversation or the contract with the LLM provider, so that the company doesn't have to do that if they don't want to. They can certainly do that if they want to as well. But it basically means that everything goes through us, both going out to the LLM provider as well as coming back.
And it is encrypted.
Yes, all the user data is encrypted. So that means that the context, if you will, the prompts as well as the responses, that is stored on our side, and that is encrypted. We have we are adding, we don't have it released yet, but we are adding a bring your own key so that the users can have their own encryption key and add that in there, which means that now you have a kill switch so that you can cut off access at any time from anyone, including us. And that is important for a sovereignty perspective, if you will. And that could be organization-wide or it could be user specific.
So to summarize, this would be the interface for us to connect with any LLM, and this would encrypt all PII or sensitive information, and it would intelligently do so by identifying what information is sensitive. And you're going to tell us what this outcome shows right now, right? To your prompt.
Yeah. Yep. So what it means here is that I sent this off, and as you can see, I have an email address, I have a social security number, credit card number, and so forth. And down here, I asked them, because this is for testing purposes, and it basically says here that it can't really read that information properly, because even though it doesn't say that here, and we're going to add more of a demo in terms of this, so you can actually see the prompt that is being sent. But the token, it does say here that it's tokenized, so it doesn't actually see that. And that token, it actually starts with the word token and a dash and something else. That also means that if you're dealing with certain confidential data, there might be certain words or could be patent numbers, could be whatever. You replace that with a token, and if you do that, you can actually switch that back before it's being sent back to you as well. So again, from an attorney perspective, that would be extremely important for them. So what it basically means is that the data that is being sent is going through our secure data layer. We process that, meaning that we strip out information. We have the GDPR filters today, and we're adding PCI probably next, and then after that it's going to be HIPAA, or we might switch those around depending on what's coming first. We have one medical device company right now that we're talking to, and they wanted to see GDPR first, then PCI, then HIPAA, in that order, which is why we set that order. But the indication now is that we might swap the HIPAA and PCI around and do HIPAA first. So when we do this...
Yeah, sorry. I was getting to that. Okay, please go for it.
Yeah, there you go. So so when we send this off, like I said, we also take a look at the responses coming back from the LLM, and that is what is being seen here in the trust analysis tab. So we do provide some something called a trust score here. That is calculated based on the 4 factors that we have: PII, bias, ethics, and factuality. And that is then calculated down to dimensions, which is risk, integrity, and governance. And that is what basically drives this score, which is 97 out of 100 right now, which means that it's healthy response, if you will. We can also take a look at the details around this, why the score is lower in certain areas. and that is coming down here. What is coming, it's not here yet, but what is coming is that there will be an educational portion of this as well. So we're going to turn it into some actionable information so that you might be able to, for instance, get more recommendations in terms of how you should write your prompts to get better results. It might be another one that we're looking at is we might automate this so that we might be using a system prompt based on this as well so that you get better responses. You can also swap this to another LLM if you want to. Like I mentioned, we hold the context, which basically means that if I would be swapping from, in this case, OpenAI to a private LLM, and I'm mid-conversation, the context is still there, so you're not starting from scratch if you do that. That has some other aspects as well, which is good. So one of our investors that we have is from Meta. So he's head of AI infrastructure at Meta. And he basically, when he saw this, he basically said that, that's going to be extremely important for agents because agents usually don't keep memory, and having that memory centralized will save cost and be very useful, if you will. So that's an interesting aspect of this, which I hadn't think about when I started talking to him. So as part of this, now if I go and take a look at some other things in the platform here, we have a landing page which has some information in it. So that means that we get 7-day averages and so forth in terms of what's being done here. And with this particular user, automation, we don't have any automation that has been enabled for this particular user here. And you can also see on the right-hand side that the policy is GDPR, and the only one that we have.
It close that window, Mikhail. You won't see me too bad, but it's okay. I think you know. There we go.
There we go. Yeah, and there's going to be some more information about how to use the platform and everything else here. And then we have this AI Trust Index, and that's where you can find more information about how the AI Trust Index works. The average in 24 hours is here. And this is also where we will have more educational components. We will add here right now, we are using base. We haven't enabled the enhanced, and the enhanced will be a paid kind of function. And that is enhancing this by using several LLMs to analyze the results. Right now, it's just one. We have a private LLM that we're using for this, and if you do the enhanced, in that case, we're going to add. It might be OpenAI, it might be Anthropic, might be something else, but we're going to add one more. So that means that we have 2 voices that are looking into this. We call them judges, and there will be another one which will give you even more accuracy, and that's going to be a 3rd one. So then you have 3 different voices to be heard here. Protection and monitor, that is not enabled yet, so I'm not going to go into that. The inbox assistant that Swati mentioned as well, that is something that I use quite often. And what it basically means in this case, this is just a configuration piece here. We're going to add a wizard on how to set up this, because if I take a look at this and how I set it up is that, let's see, that's that one. That will automatically connect in a while here. But if I would try to set this up, I can basically very easy just take a look at different options in terms of how I log in and how I set this up, if you will. So it's standard in terms of how you would use this. as single sign-on with Microsoft or something else. Um, and then there's a configuration component here, which means that we take a look at processing rules. And this is where I would configure, for instance, how this would be triggered. And what I do is I use flags. So as long as I flag an email, I'm going to get a draft in my, it's going to end up in this folder here, review send, but it will also show up in draft. So put it like this. I get up in the morning, I have a lot of emails. I pick up my phone, I read through the emails immediately, I flag the emails, and then I go and eat breakfast or get a cup of coffee or whatever. When I get back to my computer, I have those drafts done for me. Um, the reason why I do this in terms of the actual process, as opposed to what something like Superhuman does, which is reading through all your emails, is just because of that. I don't want it to read through all my emails. What I would like to do is basically, I would like to choose which emails that the AI can read and not read. Um, so I would like to have some human intervention, or uh, call it whatever, in that case. So that is how I would like to do it. Might be others that basically enables this on the inbox and run 100 emails at a time or whatever. But you certainly don't want to run it on 30,000 emails. That's going to take a long time. And then you get a very messy draft box, if you will, as well. So the AI compliance assistant, you haven't seen this, Swati, even though you saw a demo, I think it was last week or the week before. But this is a fairly interesting thing. So we have this enabled for AU AI Act, and I think that what we can do here is take a look at, let's see. So if I would be asking, data. So this is particular from EU AI Act. We still have some work to do here, no question about that. So what this does is to read through the official documentation, and we upload that documentation here, and then you can ask questions to the documentation itself. So this is a preview. It's not enabled on the platform yet, but we hope that we can enable this within a week. And what is missing here is it doesn't really understand a lot in terms of, if I would say, how does that apply to a medical device company? And then it will basically say that it doesn't have enough information. So we're not connected to the outside world on this yet. So we're going to do that, and that means that we will get better responses. We will make sure that we always have a response that says something about this, but we will also make sure that if it's an opinion that is coming, in this case, it would probably be because it's not listed in the actual documentation. So in that case, we will basically be able to say that this is not coming from the official documentation. The actual articles around biometric data is coming from the official documentation. So there's a RAG system here combined with LLMs. So
Mikhail,
that is
in the interest of time, sorry to interrupt again, but in the
no
interest of
problem.
time, let's wrap up your presentation because there are questions coming up. So, yeah, if you could just wrap up as to what the fundraise is about. And also, I think there are some questions around competition in case you're going to cover that. We should just go back to, I think we've seen The important parts of the demo we've seen,
Yep.
unless you prefer. Yeah.
No, that's not a problem at all. So let's just thank you for keeping a tab on the time here. So let's see if I can find you again somewhere. There we go. Always difficult when you have 200 windows open.
I know. We should have a window manager.
Yeah. So about the fundraise, right now we're doing a pre-seed round of $2 million. We have the first
We
tranche.
cannot see your slides if you're sharing them.
Now you should be able to see that, right?
We can see them, yes.
Yeah. Let's see if I can also get into this here. Yeah, so we're raising a $2 million pre-seed round, and right now we're focused on the first tranche of $500,000. And what we will do with that money is basically to take a look at a couple of different things. One is to, obviously, we have some work to do on the platform, if you will, so there will be some money going into that. But primarily, this is to get customers onboarded. And that means that in our case, we're looking at the attorney firms. We do have people in both the United States and in Europe right now. No one in Asia. We do have some partner discussions that started actually this week here in Bangkok. And also we have a few partners in Europe. We have at least 2 in the United States that we're talking to, as well as a private equity firm. And that private equity firm, what they would like to do is to have us talk to their portfolio companies. So that's more lead generation for us. So it's wouldn't say that it's really a partner kind of scenario, but it is that they see this as extremely important for their portfolio companies.
Have we deployed anywhere as yet? Who are those customers where you have actually deployed?
We have a medical device company in Europe. They're called Airdal, and they're a $5 billion company, privately owned, which is kind of interesting then when you're at that size. So it's kind of like a family company. And what they do is if you know how you do CPR training, the dolls that they use for that, that first responders use and everything else, Laerdal is a company that is the biggest provider of those medical devices. They have a lot more than just those dolls, if you will, but that's what they're most famous for. So that's a Norwegian company. We also have a couple of research labs. Well, maybe I should say one innovation lab and a research lab. We're talking to a few other research labs, and in their case, they're talking to, or their customers are Volvo, Hitachi, and other big multinational companies. And they're using our product for internal research purposes. So more project documentation and so forth when they are delivering projects to their member companies. The innovation lab that I was talking about, they're in defense and space. So we have 2 different companies in defense tech, and this particular innovation lab is one of them, and there's another one which is in intelligence and drone, active drone defense, I should say. And the innovation lab that is in Europe, and they are doing drone detection. So those two companies are, we put those two together so that they are delivering together or going to. And the company in the United States, they are working on a direct to phase 3 right now, which means commercialization with the Department of War. And what they are going to do is to use our product as backend for their data that they have. So they're still building products and so forth. So they are using us today for their project documentation because it's highly sensitive. And also the company in the United States there, they're also going to use us for out in the field with small LLMs and more micro LLMs and do that kind of AI routing, if you will.
So sorry to interrupt you again, Mikhail, just keeping us on track because we have about 10 minutes to go. There are a couple of questions which we should answer. Who are the competitors and why do the top cybersecurity companies not provide a similar solution? Also, what is the barrier in general, the barrier to entry here?
I would say that the barrier to entry is primarily that we are a startup, and I think that the question about the big cybersecurity companies, I think that that's a valid kind of question. So they are not doing conversation security. They are providing DLP systems and gateways, AI firewalls, and so forth. We're particularly looking into the conversations themselves and deal with that, and we add additional value on top of that. The fact that we're more into the user land as well as the on the wires, if you will, that is what gives us a little bit of an advantage. The cybersecurity companies, they're not going into the user land that much. So that's something that they are doing. And quite frankly, we have developed this using AI from day one, while cybersecurity companies are usually coming from another product and they add features on top of a DLP system or something else.
But why do you think they're not participating in this market just as of yet? Because this is quite
They
obvious.
they do, and if you take a look at their marketing materials in terms of stopping or monitoring PII data, a lot of them are monitoring, not doing active defense, if you will. And if they do active defense, it will more or less be a firewall, so they block. We don't block. We basically change the context at that point.
So the
So
question
they are
is what
definitely in the market, but since they're not on the user side, it basically means that customers are more inclined to use their own kind of mobile phones or whatever to connect to a LLM.
I see. So you think that they're looking at it differently or from the opposite side of things, where these are gates installed by the enterprises, kind of like
Yes.
enterprise software, but since people already have their mobile phones, they are using them anyway. And what you're doing is you're going to the user, or you want to be installed by the user, or you want to be used by the user, so that whether they use their mobile device or laptop, desktop, what have you, they will be going through you regardless.
Yeah,
So
so think about it like this. If you work for a company and you basically say to your employees, not going to stop you from using OpenAI or Anthropic or Google or whatever you want to use, but you use what we have approved. So that means that the CIO and the company is still in control of what's happening. So that's how you stop shadow AI. Um, and then obviously what they need to provide is the mobile app needs to be there, the browser extension needs to be there, user interface that we have needs to be there, and so forth. Because otherwise they will go back and use their own mobile phones and connect directly. So it's just the way that we work as humans. We take the easier path always.
Yes, of course. Question then, follow-up question. What prevents these companies from copying your solution, or what advantage do you have?
Um, well, I've been developing products for a long time, and I've been in many different CTO positions as well. And one thing that I can say is that um, I would never claim that no one can copy what we do, because it's possible. So that's one thing. Obviously, we do have some. Um, well, the timing is now, I guess, to start filing some patents. We haven't done that yet because we haven't been in a position where we know that we will be able to file the actual patent instead of just a provisional. Um, that expires. So that's why
Yeah,
we have waited with that. And I guess that some of that timing is now, if you will. But we are different in terms of how we use things and so forth. But there is nothing to say that no one can copy what we do or do something differently, if you will. So I wouldn't claim that. Um, what I do believe, though, is that it's very sticky once it gets into a company because it's the context is sitting in our platform at that point. Obviously, they can pull that out. We do have that capability so that we can basically extract the context and provide it to the user as well. But taking that context and move that to a different solution is going to be very, very
yeah.
interesting, I should say,
Understood.
want to do
Understood.
that. Um,
So,
and
but
by the way, that's also a thing with the cybersecurity companies. They do not store context today. The context is still stored with the LLM provider at that point.
so you're saying that your advantage really is the know-how and the experience and expertise you've built over time, among other things. And then you're going to file patents, but you really didn't want to because patents have a shelf life or they expire, and you want to file them as late as possible. For those that are not aware, Mikhail was the chief technologist at Sun Microsystems. He was the chief architect at Dell. He was the vice president architect at Oracle. Um, Chairman, well, of course, he's done a bunch of different startups. Um, and he was the global vice president. When his startup got acquired by SAP, he was the global vice president and CTO of multi cloud products and services at SAP. So I won't even go into the other things that you've done, Mikhail, but everyone should recognize that we're talking to a subject matter expert here. So thank you for being here. All right, keep going. Sorry, I'm a bit sick today.
Yeah, that's all right. So if we take a look at the team here, we are a little bit in different locations, if you will, and different backgrounds as well. So the founders here is myself. We have Solveig. She's been CEO for different companies, including cybersecurity companies. I think 7 or 8 times, working for private equity. Um, she's been with also Sun Microsystems, where I met her back in 2005 or something like that. So we've known each other for a very long time, know each other extremely well. She ran sales for multiple companies as well, and so she's basically running sales and marketing here. Wasif, he is the guy that developed the SAP Data Custodian together with me. So we were the two people that went to talk to Google and set all that partnership up and started developing the product at that point. York, he started to build the education platform for Google in Europe, and so he ran that as general manager. Um, in EMEA, and he's sitting in Germany, so he's doing the business development for us in the DAC region. Um, and then we have Nestor, which I'm extremely happy to have on board. So he is not full-time, full disclosure, and it won't be for a while because he's going into law school at Stanford at the moment. But he ran the AI index from Stanford for multiple years in the human-centered AI organizational program at Stanford. So if we have questions about, for instance, the compliance side of things and how that is going around the world, he knows that. We have a lot of discussions right now about economics around AI here at UN this week, and Nestor is also a guy that would be able to speak around that. So he's got a boatload of information in his brain, and so he is going to be a evangelist for us to help with both these kind of events later on. Sorry, I couldn't send him here to UN instead of me, but it's pretty fun to be here as well. But next year, I think that he's going to be going to these type of events instead of me, and so forth. So he's going to be out there driving attraction to us and so forth. So and then we have some developers as well on board, and those are right now getting up to started in terms of how we are developing. We have one lady, she's fresh out of school, but she's been with us for about 6 months now, and she have written down the whole methodology in terms of how we develop, because we do develop extremely fast. We use vibe coding ourselves, and then on top of that, because of how we have the foundation, like I said, when it comes to enterprises, and you build your applications on top, that increases the speed on delivering these kind of products on top of the platform as well. So it's
Well,
really turning.
sorry again to interrupt, but we're at the end of our time. There's one last question. Is the solution also available via API? Yes.
Yes, it definitely is.
Oh, it is already.
Yeah. So the secure data layer, that is API based. So we connect through APIs ourselves into that. So everything is modular and distributed. So and all the source code is on GitHub at the moment. It's written in a way so that we can move that. We can deploy it on-prem as well as in any cloud. Not without some time to do that, but
Can be called,
it's
and
definitely doable.
AI, just to confirm, AI data defense solution can be called via API. Okay, cool. Thank you. I think if there's any last question, this is the last call. Thank you, Mikhail, for staying over. For those who don't know or who I didn't already mention, it's past 1 a.m. for Mikhail in Bangkok. So I am aware that's very late for you as well. I'm just
That's
grateful
fine.
that you took the time to be with us today. Thank you, Mikhail.
I already slept hours, so it's fine.
How many hours do you sleep?
I've been sleeping 3 hours before this, and then I have a 6 o'clock meeting with another investor that we know.
Oh my. Well, I think you need to grab your short nap in between. So let's wrap up for today. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for your questions. Thank you, Mikhail, for making the time at midnight from Bangkok. I hope your UN presentation goes well. Or did it already go? I hope it went well.
No, we had a couple of meetings today, and the presentation is tomorrow morning, and then I have another one on Friday. So
Good
all
luck.
good.
Good luck. Come with some
Thank you.
custom.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
That's good. Thank you. Bye.